Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the cardboard lightsaber that I reviewed just last week, I'm pretty sure. Last week. If not, this video probably went up later. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a cardboard tube. That's pretty simple. You can probably get this out of poster board, or not poster board, I'm sorry. Gift wrapping, you can get it probably out of, pretty much gift wrap is the way to go. If you're going to go for like a cardboard tube, like out of paper towels, it's slightly bigger than what you need. You need a 1.5 diameter tube. You can figure that out using a pair of calipers. So I got these for 10 bucks at Harbor Freight. So I'll zero it and show you that this tube is approximately 1.5 inches. It's 1.48 inches. That in millimeters, it's 37.7 millimeters. So you're going to find a tube that's that size, and what else you're going to need is you're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need a hot glue gun, which I have a hot glue gun right here. You're also going to need a box cutter, if I can find that one. A box cutter, this one's a folding one, and some kind of writing utensil, and this isn't extremely necessary, but you also need a X-Acto knife. You don't need it, but it's great to have an X-Acto knife, because I'll explain in another video. To add this in, you're also going to need a thinner type of cardboard and a normal sized cardboard sheet. The thinner stuff, when I talk about it, it's kind of, it's much thinner. This is the normal corrugation, and this is thinner when I talk about that. So you're going to need the thin stuff. You don't really need it. If you really wanted to, you can go without it, but it's nice to have the thin stuff to create little details. So you're going to need the thin stuff, and you're also going to need the thicker stuff, just like on your average cardboard box. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take this measurement I'm about to give you. This is a Andrew, cut this out. You're going to have a tube that's 10.5 inches long. So you're going to go onto here. You're going to find your mark, 10.5 inches, right here. Now it doesn't have to be exactly 10.5 inches. If you go a little over, that would be great, because you're going to do a little bit of shaping at the top here. So just like that. So I already made one. I'm going to make another one just for this review. So you're going to make a cut along this edge. Now you could do this easily with a box cutter, but I'm going to use my bandsaw because that's just, it'll be much easier to cut with the bandsaw. I was just kidding on that one. I can actually fit this on my bandsaw, so I'm going to take my box cutter and I'm going to cut this out. So I'll just cut it on camera. So your goal is to try to be as straight as possible. If you want to, you can actually flip it and go from the other side. Make sure that the sides meet. So now that you have, now I have the correct size tube for the job. So the next thing we're going to move on to is we're going to move on to the adding of the little rounded kind of grip area right here. Okay, so next what you're going to do is you're going to take to make this, you're going to take a piece of cardboard about this size, and you're going to make a line, or you're going to make this piece, making sure that your lines are perpendicular to the line you make here, 3 3/8 wide. So you want a piece that's 3 3/8 wide. So it'll be 3 3/8 wide here. So what I mean by that is when I cut this out, I never really use a ruler to cut straight lines. I kind of just like kind of like a machine. I kind of just pull my hand back instead of actually like using my wrist. I kind of just pull my arm back. That's how I get a nice straight line. So you're going to take this, and what I mean by you want it perpendicular is when you pull this apart, I'll pull it apart on this side. Ooh, this is nicer cardboard. I don't think it's going to come apart that well. And you just cut this out in the editing. Don't keep this in. So nobody wants to watch this. This is garbage. Alright, so I peeled it, and you're going to cut it to a length of 4.5 in, or that's not accurate, I apologize. 4.5 and 1/16 inches if you're in metric. That will be about 11.7 inches, or not inches, centimeters. 11.7 centimeters for that. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to wrap it around the bottom of your lightsaber, and it'll give that cool kind of aesthetic. If you don't want to go for this kind of aesthetic and you want to go for more like the movie, what I recommend is taking strips and cutting them out just to look exactly like it. I'll have a more detailed tutorial coming out later, I don't know, this year maybe, of how to make a more realistic lightsaber. This is how you make a nice quick one that you can use for a costume or whatever. So yeah, so you're going to cut that out, and it might be a little short, but as soon as you add glue, you can pull it together a little bit more. And you can also just redo this. I didn't get a nice piece. I should have cut the other side because the other side was a folded piece inside a box. I didn't really do that well. As you can see the crimped edges. So I didn't really do that well. I'm still going to use this piece for this build because I already have a lightsaber, and this one just isn't really like it's supposed to be for the tutorial. So it's not going to be pretty. Either way, I'm going to use this for the thumbnail. So we're going to move on to gluing this onto the piece, and then we're going to move on to the little cuff around that goes around here. So let's move on to that. All right, so we're going to move on to making the coupling, or not the coupling. I'm sorry, the little cuff that goes around the edge here. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the same exact size tube. Just though if you have this one, you have a little bit left over, you can use that to make this part. So what you're going to do is you're going to mark a line at 2.5 inches around here. I apologize if there's any background noise. The furnace is running and I'm in the basement. So I have a microphone, so it should sound good. So you make a mark at 2.5 inches. It can be a little under if you want. It's just around that number. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pair of scissors and you're going to make a cut perpendicular to that line. So what that's going to do is that's going to kind of give you a guide to use for your scissors. You can also take your bandsaw and make a line using the miter gauge, and you just make a cut. Or you can take your box cutter and you can cut around. I'm going to do this because it makes it a little easier, and more people have scissors than box cutters and bandsaws. So I'm going to make a little cut around here, and it's going to be a little tricky on this side since this is running against this. So I'm going to go around like this. Hopefully we'll stay on the line. And just split this and time lapse this. There we go. So I'm going to make a little trim because I see I went over a little. But that's the positives of using a miter gauge on your bandsaw, is that it can make a perfectly straight cut, which is super nice. So now, next, what you're going to do is, it can be a little off, but what you're going to try to do is make a perpendicular line. A tool that you can use, but it's not needed, is something called a composition square. So you're going to take that to the factory cut edge. Factory cut is good because it's factory cut, it's perpendicular to the actual side of the thing. And then you're going to make a mark on the thing here, and that will give you a perpendicular line to the thing. So I'm going to do that again because I kind of screwed that up. So now I have a perpendicular line on this piece, and I'm going to cut it on that line. So now we're going to take our little coupling. I'm going to call it a coupling even though it's probably wrong. And we're going to put it around the edge there. Now it's kind of hard to see what we're going to, so later on I'll explain how you can use pencil to highlight those areas. And, or unless you're painting it, then you can just use a little bit of rub off and you can highlight those areas too. I'm not going to paint this. I might actually, no, I don't have any primer. I'm not going to paint this. But yeah, so we're going to maneuver this coupling about 1 centimeter away from the kind of ribbed thing you added on the bottom, the kind of grip here. And we're going to glue it. So I'm just going to make a line. You can make a line here. I can take some glue. Takes a really good master to learn how to use, how to put the glue in the right places for it to be stable. What I mean by that is use as least glue as possible, but securing the piece just as well as you would if you added a lot. So I think I did that pretty good. That should be good, well on there. I'm gonna let that glue. One tip if you want hot glue to dry or cool faster is rub it against, or not rub it, but like put it on a piece like a piece of metal and have it press it up against there. The metal will absorb the heat off of the hot glue and it will dry like quickly, super quick. If you have a freezer right next to you like I do, you can stick this into the freezer and it'll cool. It'll super cool all the hot glue and it'll cool like that. Say if you want, or yeah. So next we're going to move on to the adding of the little box onto the end here. Alright, so we are going to move on to making the box that will be on the little coupling piece. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 pieces that are 1.3 centimeters high. So we're going to make a piece, we're going to make a kind of a rectangle that is 2.5 inches this way and 1.3 centimeters up like this. So you should get a box that looks like this. So then we're going to make a whatchamacallit, we're going to make a box that's 1.3 centimeters this way and 1.3 centimeters this way. So you should have like a square, and we're going to make that into a little box. So I'm going to time lapse this part. Andrew, please time lapse this. Don't be a doo-doo head. And let's do that. Let's make that box. Alright, so we have our 4 pieces. So one of these is going to be used for the little edge piece here. And then the 3 of these are going to be glued together just like this. So I'm going to glue these together, and yeah, we'll see how this turns out in a second. Alright, so you should have a little box that looks like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your little box and you're going to glue it onto the side here. So I'm going to do that on camera. So just put your glue like this all around the edges. Oh, I'm not even framed. Good job, Andrew. You're awesome at this. So you're going to line it up, make sure it's perpendicular. Boom, boom, and you have yourself a little box on the side of your lightsaber. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to add a little, we'll add details at the end, but we're going to move on to the kind of the, whatchamacallit, the little blade thing at the end. So we're going to move on to cutting that out. so what you're going to do is, it's really, I don't have any templates for this. It's kind of just a, you try to trace this onto it. Kind of look at the shape and then trace it on. I have a reference. I know that's not really fair. If you have like another toy, you can probably reference that on there as well. But I had a reference myself because, I mean, that was pretty good. So I referenced that, and I'm going to cut this. So one thing I just realized is I actually put it on the wrong place. What you're going to do is you're going to go, you're going to take your thing and you're going to go 90 degrees and then draw it. So if you can see your little boxes here, then go 90 degrees and then there's your thing. So you could remedy this by, or remedy this thing by waiting on the collar and doing this first and then do the collar, because I kind of did that wrong. So I gotta redo that. So I gotta put it on this side. I also did it too short. I messed it up. So I'm gonna redo this. I'm gonna cut it out, and we'll see how it looks after. Make sure you use pencil as well. Pen, you're gonna mess this up, and if you do it in pen, you can't really redo it. And unless you're painting it, then it's messed up. So I recommend using pencil so you can erase and do what you need to do. Alright, so I cut this out and I realized that I can give you guys measurements. So from the bottom or the top of this, where you're going to make make a mark at 5.5 inches, and on this side you're going to make a mark at 6.5 inches. So on the long side you should put 6.5 inches, and on the short side you should put 5.5 inches, or 5.5 inches on this side. So then all you have to do is trace it out and then cut it out to get this kind of weird kind of graph-flex shape. So that's how you do this part. Now we're going to move on to the little tube on the inside here. If you want to make one of these little tubes, it is, or the one that I used in here was a tube that I had left over here. It was kind of a hard tube, and I don't have any more of that, so I'm going to make another one, show you guys how to make another one that's going to be, that's going to do the same purpose. So you're going to get some of this thin stuff, this thin corrugation, and you're going to make a mark at 4 inches. So it should be 4 inches long, and it doesn't matter how long this is, as long as you can get a good amount in there to keep it stable. So then you're going to, if you have these little lines on the side here, that's pretty good. But you're pretty much just going to go in about 1 centimeter. You're going to put glue on that 1 centimeter. And I recommend doing a little bit of a little spread out with the glue gun. And you're going to glue that bad boy right on. So now you should have a tube that's ready to go inside of this. So you're going to need some spacing in there. So what you're going to do is you can take some cardboard, and then you can wrap it around this tube, and you can get yourself more filler, so that way it fits nicely into this tube. So as you saw, we're going to move on. After we put this into this tube, we're going to move on to making a back to this lightsaber. Okay, so the next part on this in this step process is making the back to this. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a tube, you're going the same diameter, you're going to put it onto a piece of thin cardboard specifically, and you're going to trace around the edge. So it should get you a little piece, a little circle, and once you cut it out, and you can glue it onto the back here. Alright, so I added a backing onto this. It's just a simple little circle you trace out with your tube. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a hole here and a hole on the bottom. We're going to cut those out, and then we're going to add a piece of rolled cardboard and put it into there. So it will look like this. It should look like this. This one we're going to cover the corrugation, and this one we're not going to, because there is supposed to be kind of like a hole in the top there. The next part is we're going to move on to the bunny ears. I call them bunny ears, but they're called something else. I don't know what it is called. Alright, so I made 2 holes here, and while you're with your X-Acto knife, you might as well make 2 more slits about 1 centimeter long. This is, for a measurement, it is about a centimeter wide hole, and it is about, about 1.5 inches down, and this side is, again, about 1.5 inches down from this side. So then you're going to make 2 bunny ears about 1 centimeter, about 1.5 centimeters long on each side. It doesn't matter how far they're apart, you can just draw 2 lines and make a kind of a slit. Careful, it will poke out on the other side, so you don't want to cut yourself. And you're going to make 2 slits, and you're going to make sure you widen those up enough to slide a thin piece of cardboard into there, because you're going to make 2 little bunny ears on the side there. So these are about 1 centimeter wide, and then you're going to add like a little curve at the top, and that's how you make the little bunny ears. So then we're going to move on to this after we're done making the little tubes and the bunny ears. Alright, so by the end of this build you should have a little piece on here. You should have a little clip. I just made kind of an oval shape and just cut the straight edges on the side. Then you can take one of these circles that you cut out of your tube, and you can glue it onto there to make it look like a little clip. And then for the circles, I cover the corrugation on this one, and then left this one open. And that's your lightsaber. That's what you should have. If you want to add the D-ring like I did on the other one, you can do that. Or otherwise, you can just keep it flat like I did. If you want to add another little circle on there, you can. You can pretty much customize this however you want. This is what I'm going to keep it as, to keep it simple. And yeah, I'm done with this lightsaber. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I hope I can do more of these reviews, or how-tos. I am going to do a how-to soon on the Glock, and then have a how-to soon on how to make a TrueBot. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye.